So, welcome everybody to He Said, She Said, those online and in person. So we just here to talk about relationships, as advice. Mark and Ramona, they're gonna be leading it and answering most of the questions. Feel free to put in your comments and your opinions too. Um, so, oh, okay, start like that. Thank you.
For the recording.
Yes. Um, so feel free to have for those in person, feel free to eat pizza and all of that and stuff. I do have your questions, so the link is up and live. Um, right now, just use the link in the group chat if you have it. Um, and so cause the QR code had to, so I had to do like this today, but it's all good. So if you have any more questions and stuff, I see some more questions came in since we been here. So yeah, so I will read them out to them and they'll be answering. So are y'all ready? So
Have we met everybody? Are they like, who is that?
yes, I said this is Mark and Ramona.
Okay, I'll pay attention. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. This is Mark, Pastor Mark and Ramona Burrows, pastors of Connected Church here in Huntsville. Yes, yes, they young at heart and they were.
Just at heart.
I mean, yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, I had to get you back from last night.
I know.
Oh,
She was off the chain.
well, no. But yeah, so yeah, we'll pray real quick and then we'll start the questions, okay? So Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Thank you for your wisdom and your love for us. We just pray your wisdom and your spirit come down right now through this discussion. Let it bless our hearts and our minds so we could be closer to you and closer to the purpose you have for us regarding relationships and then just in our lives in general. So we just pray your wisdom and spirit upon us tonight. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Y'all ready?
We ready. I hope y'all have some good, hard, thought-provoking. People might not want to ask it in person, but they put in their questions. What'd you say? I'm talking about relationships and stuff, but okay. What's 2 plus 2? Polygamy? He said relationships.
It's
Okay.
4, sweetheart, whether you're in a relationship or not. 2 plus 2 is 4.
Okay.
That's
Oh, it's 5.
Oh, because Jesus is in the mix.
Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
I tell you, we should got Robert to lead. I'm telling you.
I know. He might have to. We gonna
You
have
Southern people's math is off.
You from here?
You from the South too, DJ.
No, I'm not.
All right. So what okay, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, this a lot of questions, good questions. Hmm. Okay, I'll just start with this one. This seems like a simple one. When should you start setting boundaries in a relationship process? When should you start setting boundaries in a relationship?
You want to answer from a guy's standpoint? I answer from a woman's standpoint.
When should you start setting boundaries in a relationship? Actually, I think it's important from the start. The reason why I say that is, when you first meet somebody, you should initially just be developing a friendship, to see what their interests are, get to know each other, somewhere too quick. Find out, well, this is not really suitable, good for me, good for them. A lot of different ways. So I think it's important to take your time, and, don't get too uptight or overthink it from the start. It's kind of okay. Somebody we seem to have a good relationship, compatible, whatever. But just kind of take your time, and make sure that you communicate.
I would say you started from day one, if you equate boundaries to standards, right? So like, if I'm interested in somebody, or when I was dating, if my initial interaction was disrespectful, that was it. That's a boundary, right? And so that carries on. And if after you're spending time with someone, when I think of a boundary, it's like a guard around you, right? And so if they encroach on how you define your own worth, and more importantly, how God defines your worth, and what's important in your life and what you're working toward, and they encroach on that in a way where they compromise you in that area, then that's either a boundary that has to be established and quickly met, or that could be a process of elimination, right, in a dating situation. Because I think the thing about it is, they have that saying, if people show you who they are, believe them. That's not Bible. People can change, but God can change people. People don't change people. So, if people showing you certain things and those boundaries are crossed, you don't hang in there trying to change them to meet your boundaries. The way your boundaries are met is you are not in that situation. If it's something that is a no, what do you call it? Something that you don't compromise.
Well, I would say too, just to a little bit further on it, I think that's to protect both you and another person.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, relationships go bad because somebody has an expectation, is on a different pace. I thought you were, but so one person's down the road, the other person's like, and then you find out, well, they're not there, or you're not there. Suddenly, well, you treat me bad, and just, looking at each other like, I kind of don't like you, kind of thing. So I think it's good to just use those boundaries to take your time, set expectations, and make sure that you're both on the same path. And of course, as we're answering these questions, if you have any follow-up or what do you mean by that or whatever, this is, we're here to talk and have an exchange with you. So I don't want it just to be a one-way.
Okay, this is a question for the crowd, actually.
Okay.
And so this for everybody to answer if you want to. So what traits do women look for in men?
Come on, women. The men are like, no.
All the men just
Mhm.
I guess I guess I'll speak for mine. Well, first thing was, let's have a relationship. I think I started to want this trait more as I got older. I feel like his love for God has to be stronger than love for me. And of course, he has to have practical goals and ambition.
You need to look good.
Yeah, he was
It's okay. Yeah.
I mean, yes, child bereavement.
Mhm.
That's one thing.
You didn't thought about this.
Yes. Like, I think about back when I was like starting to date when I was in high school versus now it's like it's changed.
Okay. Can they hear from at home? So we might want to repeat some stuff. She said relationship with God, that they love God more than her, somebody who's attractive, somebody who you can have fun with, travel with, and smell good.
Goals and ambitions
Let me tell you, cologne can get you in a lot of
and is
trouble.
acquainted with the bar of soap.
And is acquainted with soap. What is your relationship with soap and water exactly? That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
It
Tell-
is.
let me
I
tell
heard
you.
a whole sermon on that one.
I heard, I know what it's like when you talk
Yeah, it was,
about
it was nothing but
that. Anybody? So Zoom, can y'all hear everybody in the audience pretty good?
Not really.
So we kind of repeated it. Can
Yeah.
you hear us all right?
Yeah, I heard y'all.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So the question was this, what women look for in men, somebody said, godly, have a relationship with God, ambitious, adventurous, have a relationship with soap and water, look
Open
good.
water.
How many of these is it?
Hmm.
Is it just two?
He just too.
I was gonna say, you probably can put one of these at the tables. I don't know how long they are,
Yeah, you know what?
how long the reach is.
Yeah, you probably, because y'all, they can hear y'all.
If they
probably
can hear
well.
y'all could each come get one of these.
Yeah, the one at each table, yeah.
That's all right, just hold your breath, you okay?
Hey, man, we got the.
Come on,
You
we
know
got the
I'm fat,
blood,
I
go.
can't do that.
Stop it.
I'm out of breath when I got up and started walking.
But,
You know, pizza ain't helping.
but do any of the women on board want to answer that question too? Any of the women on the line, on Zoom want to answer before we move on? Mhm. Okay, so I got another question. So this for the men. So men, what traits do you look for in a woman?
How much money she got?
DJ.
So women threw in financial stability on our side too.
I would say this by finances. They know how to, they can manage it.
Yeah.
Because somebody can help me manage the finances. I could provide it, but you can help me manage it, that'd be good.
I like to get flued out.
DJ Hush.
See, you wouldn't like it if I was just making all the money and you was retired, would you? That was a long pause.
Wouldn't bother me.
There we go, Pastor Marcus, 2022.
That's it.
Well, no, I would say this though. Yeah. Godly, gotta be attractive,
Mhm.
Smell good.
Peaceful.
There is what the Bible say about chorus woman, it's better to live like in the house with a leaky roof.
And I'm gonna say, women, that increases in my experience or observation with men, even as they get older. A man that has a job and a home and all that other stuff, he ain't trying to come home and not want to come home. Same thing with women.
Yeah.
Like who? Who is that?
Oh,
Okay. Oh, okay.
Look, I can't cook that good, so if she could cook that, amen. If she can't, we can learn together. But no.
I'll give up my social security number to a woman that can cook.
Dude, I'm telling you, we really should let you lead
You should have
this.
came in town for this, DJ.
You really should. So I guess we'll kind of hone in on the godliness of that people kind of want a relationship. So should you be obligated to go against beliefs or wishes to keep a happy relationship? Would this be considered making sacrifices? So I guess so you go against your personal beliefs.
Are you starting with us?
I'm start with John first, and
I mean, I think whoever asked that question, they answered it. They said, would you go against your, say it, read it how you read it.
so should you be obligated to go against beliefs or wishes to keep a happy relationship? Would this be considered making a sacrifice?
If you're going against your own beliefs, you're not happy. It might feel good. You might like that person. You might have that, oh, I want to be with him. But if you asking that question, you're struggling with it. And that's not happiness. When you get somebody who the Bible talks about being equally yoked with your beliefs and all of that, it's not, it's easy and it's clear. And you can kind of breathe in it. It's not constricted. It's not conflicted. It's not hard. You know, it's not hard for me to love him. It's easy. And so that's what you want. That's happiness.
Yes, I would add, that question says, should you be obligated to change your beliefs and convictions to keep a happy relationship? I think it goes back to the standard question. I think it's important when you're getting to know somebody, just talk about what you think, what you believe, what your views are. And I encourage people to talk about everything, not only your spiritual beliefs, mentally, how you think, what your philosophy is on different stuff, money, children, politics, not that those are necessarily showstoppers, because somebody likes UH and somebody likes UNLV or Alabama, Auburn, it's not necessarily a showstopper. But I think it's important, my thing is when I'm doing premarital counseling, I always say that there's 6 dimensions of life. It's spiritual, it's mental, it's emotional, it's physical, it's financial, and it's social. And when you're getting to know somebody, I mean, you want to have fun, but if you really are starting to look at this somebody I'm going to spend time with, you probably ought to have those kinds of discussions, about what your priorities are, what your values are, what your goals are, what you think about, different things. Because I find oftentimes in relationships, what happens is people didn't talk about that, and then conflict starts, and then somebody feels defrauded, upset, mad, and angry because here we are in the middle of something, and I don't know what to do with this. So you can't solve everything, talk about everything, but on the journey of a relationship, you should be doing a whole lot of talking. You should be doing a lot of listening too. And so at the end of the day, I don't advise, there may be some, but you may learn. Sometimes you grow. You may see things one way, and if it's you get better information about something, that one of you may change how you look at it. So, but you should at least have a conversation, be clear about it, be upfront about it, and don't, for God's sake, don't just tell people what they want to hear because you think they're cute or handsome or whatever else. You kind of ask them for trouble.
I think it's like that boundaries question too, though. Don't y'all looking like, but it's like that boundaries question too. So, when I met my husband, I didn't look at him to say what stuff in him can I just make different. Love don't really do that. So if you're wondering, what do you have to change to keep a relationship? I would flip that question and say, why is somebody requiring you to change to be with them? There's something wrong with that. Now, in a marriage and in any serious relationship working to marriage, because you all are young adults. And so you could know the person you're going to marry now, or you could be newly married. You know, I know, you have folks both in campus ministry. But, so in a marriage relationship, you grow together with each other according to knowledge. You learn more about each other. And so there's some growing together, but you don't try to fundamentally change somebody. So when I met him, I looked for things that I could help him with, and I looked for things that I could, for lack of a better way, deal with. And I looked at things that I liked, but I didn't look at things like, oh, I'm gonna change these things. Because if it was a lot of those, I wouldn't have kept going forward. Because that's not fair to him.
Yeah.
What y'all think?
I'll say this, because in a past relationship, I did this. I went
Yeah.
against my beliefs.
Yeah.
And I would say, I saw a clip a few months ago about, and this person said, you never want somebody to feel, and I think this lady, she was telling the women, but she said, you never want a man of God to feel guilty with you.
Mhm.
And and a lot of things that is I felt guilty about, not because the person was a bad person, nothing, but yeah, I had to go against my belief to keep that person happy. In the long run, I just like, no, this ain't gonna work out. Now, was I perfect in a relationship? And no, but the biggest disservice I did to her and myself was go against my belief. And as much as I've tried to keep a happy face and smile on myself, it just didn't work. So eventually I had to make the decision, okay, look, this ain't gonna work out. And here's the bottom line.
Yeah.
This is how things gonna have to go from here on out. The relationship will keep working. And if not, you free to live your life, we both in our 20s, So I was like, look, you've grown, live your life how you want to. You just might have to live without me, and not to be kind of, arrogant or nothing, but it's just like one of those things. Like, it was very humbling, honestly. It was very humbling experience too, because like, but yeah. So I would say this is not worth. I say it's really not worth going against what your personal convictions are to be in a relationship just to keep somebody happy. Because when you're not happy, because that's not a happy relationship.
And as Christians, we had the Holy Spirit in us. He's talking and guiding. When I was in college, like y'all, I was in a relationship with somebody who's not of the Christian faith. They was in another religion. Because I didn't really fully give my life to God until the year I graduated. And it was the year after I graduated. But it was grievous to me. I had that little, it's not right, and I had that relationship, I mean, he was cute, and, in the sports, and he was that guy. Okay, and my friends would be like, oh, y'all got such a good relationship, we got along, we had that craziness of, people cussing each other out one minute and together next, and he didn't drink, he didn't smoke, he didn't do the things that I didn't do. But at the end of the day, he did not believe in the God I believed in. And that was it's like I could be his friend, and I could appreciate that I was attracted to him, if you will, just being transparent, but I didn't have that connection like I have with him. It's a totally different thing. And so and he's my husband, so it's much deeper, but I had that little, not quite right. And you try to make it work, and the longer you stay with that person, it's harder. And so just keeping it real, you don't want to be like that, where you feel like it's pulling together two hearts to break it up. So when you see it, that goes back to that boundary question. What's that boundary, so that you then don't go past that boundary, and now you feeling like you're trying to be somebody you're not. And then you got to find who you are to put all that back together to get back to where you could have been to begin with. God can do it in your life, but it's easier if you don't even get in the situation.
Let me also say this, because of those 6 dimensions that I talk about, spiritual, mental, emotional. So truth is that unfortunately, as many Christian, quote unquote, marriages as non-Christian marriages end up in divorce. Why is that? Because just simply because two people are Christians don't necessarily mean they're compatible.
It's true.
And so, you know, certainly as a Christ follower, I mean, that's the first thing that you want to make sure that gets kind of, okay, we can have a conversation about all these other things. That being said, I think it's very important to have that conversation about your faith, what you believe spiritually in relationship with God. But then you need to also talk about your goals, objectives, what you want out of life. You got a plan to whatever. And the person has a totally different plan for life. They both be Christians. Those are fine people, but you're gonna find yourself on two different paths. It's gonna be a challenge. Does that make sense?
I think there's one, excuse me, one question in Zoom. So it says, sound like you're saying when you are with someone and it's not working out, you should have the conversation to see if y'all can work it out. But if you can't, then for both persons' sake, to break it off. Is to break it off. So
I gotta answer about that, but you start.
No, you.
I think we need to define what's not working out. Cause, you know, I used to do campus ministry for many years. And some people could be like not working out like he hit you sometimes. And some people could be not working out like he ignored me or hang with his friends, or I got goals and I'm not sure what his goals are. If it's the last one, yeah, you talk about that a little bit, see if you can work that out. But if it's something clear, no, you don't have the conversation to work it out. You are thoughtful with the person, but you move on. See, y'all have the beauty. It's so many people in marriages that they don't like it. Yeah, for real. Y'all had the beauty to say, you had the beauty to bounce if it's not right. And it's nothing wrong with that. They have choice, you have choice. And so, you know, you don't want to operate with there's a limited supply mentality. In particular with women, you could do that because that's what they tell us. They hardly know men out here, and this and that. But if you operate like that, you set your standard lower than you need to. And so you can cut something off if it's grievous to you. But if it's goals or, you know, I need to talk a little bit more about you hanging out, but I want to spend more time or whatever. Those kind of things you talk through.
Oh, the great thing about, you know, a discussion forum like this is that I always, you know, I try to learn from others' mistakes and successes. You know, some people have the attitude, but I need to learn from myself. Well, if you see somebody makes a mistake, please don't just choose to make it on because it normally don't work out real well. You know, you making the same mistake I made. You know, you have every right to do so, but you can save some time if I can share something with you that keeps you from losing time. One thing about it, as you get older, you get more of a value of your time. You don't want to say, well, why did I waste all that time with this situation, that relationship? I should have done something different. And so, like my wife was saying, I think it's important to have negotiables and non-negotiables, you know, and define what that means for you. What's negotiable, what's not negotiable. And, because oftentimes I talk to people who are in relationships and they come up with difficult things and trying to decide what to do. What I'll often tell them to do, I say, you know, wait till you're just not mad first. And then just go somewhere and sit down by yourself somewhere and get a piece of paper out and just, you know, without being angry or upset or whatever, just put your thoughts down on a piece of paper. You're not in the heat of the moment. You're not angry. You're not mad. You're not, you know, having a disagreement, and assess, you know, what you really think and where you are. You know, and I encourage you, you know, to do that, you know, all along the way that you navigate a relationship. Just kind of give yourself an opportunity just to think, because one of the things can happen. You can lose yourself in a relationship. Yeah. Then you're upset because you said, what happened? You know, I used to be mad because you feel like somebody took something from you. You know, it's not all about self and ego, but you want to maintain your own identity, values, priorities, who you are as you on the journey.
So I guess we move into how we want to be loved, I guess, now.
How we want to be loved.
Yeah, so how important are the 5 love languages in a relationship?
Somebody asked that question.
Mm-hmm.
Look at y'all. Y'all know, somebody know what 5 love languages are? Cool. Those are sentences, but thank you.
But yeah, so how
I've
important
been
She's
reading
saying-
Dr. Gary Chapman.
Yeah.
All right, now look
So
out.
say some with me. So words of affirmation for people who don't know. Acts of service. So physical touch, that'll get you in trouble. Keep going. Physical touch, acts of service, gifts, and quality time. So the theory is everybody has one that they prefer in terms of this is when you do this for me, I feel loved.
Yeah.
Okay. No, what's your?
Yeah, so the question is how important are the 5 love languages in relationships, and how can you showcase each to your partner depending on what their love language is?
What's my love language?
Purses.
Yes, purses. I love purses. Oh,
Gifts.
funny.
You love a gift.
I like a good gift.
Oh, yeah. And if the gift is a purse, it's even better. Or just picking out a purse. So I think they're all very important. I think it's important to understand what the person you are relating to, what they value,
Mhm.
and to discover it. I have that book, a couple of his books, and I agree with the construct. That said, I think there may be a principle, but I think for some people, it doesn't necessarily mean they don't value quality time.
Mhm.
So you can make the mistake of thinking, well, I can just give gifts and never spend time with this person. You know, so I think it's important I think everybody has a value on each of those things to some degree. And so it's good to know which one the person in the relationship responds to the most, but I don't think you should neglect the others.
I mean, the principle is if you're gonna be in a relationship, love takes the time to understand how the other person wants to be loved. And does it meets that within those boundaries and other stuff we talked about.
So I think the question is how important. I think that they're
I said this. It's a question for the crowd. So what is your love language?
So you
What's
got
my love language, sweetheart?
me.
Yeah.
So my husband, so I was born an only child. So I'm okay being by myself. Like if I got a free day or something, you know, and he wasn't gonna do something, I'm straight with that. I'm gonna give me my little Netflix movie or whatever, and a little snack or a little book. I'm good, you know, but he loves quality time. So, you know, and it's not that I don't like quality time, but he like really, really like quality time. Like we'll be at home and it's, I don't know how many seats and couches you can sit in, but he's gonna sit right next to me. Cause like, what you doing? What we doing? You know, like everything together. And even if he's like really sleepy, he's gonna stay up till I go to sleep because we go to sleep at the same time. Cause he's gonna spend every moment he can spend with me, which I think is adorable. I'm putting stuff out there. Sorry. Anyway, but it's adorable. You know. So, you know, I love that about him, but that's not necessarily my top one. But I appreciate it because he loves it. You know what I'm saying? So you just, you know, with me, I mean, the fact that he knows person, whatever. I got my little Thanksgiving, this Valentine's Day, a little Valentine's Day. But it's not so much a thing that it's a thing. I love that he remembers, like if I'm out somewhere, he remember I like something. So it's like if you buy something for somebody for gifts, it's not so much they can't pay for it themselves, but as you was thinking about them when they weren't even with you and you thought about what they liked when they weren't there. So it's like it's a thoughtfulness. But I think it's cool. It's just a matter of taking the time to know what's important for someone. Because isn't that what the Lord does with us? He's so thoughtful. You know, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. He takes the time to know every hair on our head. And so if that's what love looks like to God, and we're in the image and the likeness of him, and we're trying to love people with a God kind of love and agape, then we should be concerned about the little things of someone who we say we love. So what's y'all love language?
That's what I-
Yes. So remember it's gifts, time, service. What was this? Gifts, time, service, words, and touch.
I say acts of service. I don't really care about gifts. Unless
Stop.
But see, it's one of those things, everybody, people don't even necessarily not like gifts. It just don't be a lot of people's top one, yeah.
it's really the thought. You know, something small, it's big, like, without most people, like, it's not a big thing. I feel like acts of service.
See, I think it's annoying, but I'm okay being by myself. You can, it's not a sin.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe physical touch and work. I like people to like talk to each other. So tell me I'm doing good, or tell me I look nice. I like that. So I don't like gifts because it comes back like strings attached.
And just to free y'all, if anybody thinking mine to touch, but I want to say it's okay. Because you need to know that's you. And you also need to know that's you. Because it could be a boundary, like, okay, well, okay. Physical touch, let me go ahead, you know, but you need to know that. But I mean, you know, he has that book for 5 languages for kids, whatever. If you're that type of person, something going on with you, and they can say something fine, but you just want them to hug you, you might be a physical touch person, you know. I think you heard me. Oh.
I guess my top two would be physical touch. Yeah, physical touch and quality time. It's weird for me because I grew up with 2 other siblings, so I enjoy being alone. And when they grew up, I was alone, so I learned how to be by myself. But it's still, I enjoy it when it's, I don't like it out a lot of noise, because there's always noise going on. So if I can sit down and there's not much going on, I enjoy that. it's refreshing for me. I don't have a big social life. I get socially tired very quickly, so I enjoy when we just sit there and watch TV. That's fine. Physical touch is, I've always like, it just makes me feel comfortable. And I guess you could call it love, love. So I like that too. Other than that, I don't really like that.
You are funny.
If it's so annoying, I'm gonna stop like
You two, I want to put you on the spot. Y'all married, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this whole y'all want to be bothered, you got to get over that get married, because you're gonna get bothered.
I would say, my two were physical touch and quality time as well. So it's funny you say I grew up with two siblings, two older brothers. And I'm the baby, so. But yeah, like I don't know, I'm a touchy person. Like I don't know, I know I get on her nerves. Like she'll be doing something, I'm just touching her, and I know it really annoys her. But like it's just something I've always been like that. I don't know why. I do my mama like that too. But man, quality time. I don't necessarily like people, for real, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I like y'all, but but like her, I can be in a room and, you know, I just want her to be in the room too. I ain't necessarily gotta be talking to you, just be in the room and then like touch me in the process.
It's the nearness of her. I get it.
So, her presence.
Mine is words of affirmation. Like, yeah, and it's so hard for me to say nice things to people. So I have to constantly like say my love battery is like down. I need some affirmations. I need like, can you pick me up today? And I learned how to do it for myself. I just like it.
I love that love battery. I'm gonna use that. I like that. Need to be recharged. Yeah, I love that.
Okay, well, mine is quality time and words of affirmation. Unlike y'all, I'm the oldest with 3 siblings, so I like to annoy them a lot. I would say that's probably why I like to spend time with
Yours is laughter.
You just made your own up.
The older I get, there's not many things that are better than a good nap. How you gonna take 3 naps? Did you wake up?
I woke up at like 5, and I had to go do something.
Yeah, 3 in one day.
I woke up at 5. And then I got back to my dorm. It was like 5. Got back at like 6:30. And I went to sleep. Then I woke up at 9. And looked at my clock. Go back.
Well, that don't count. That was just turning over. That ain't, you ain't actually wake up.
You need to be in a nursing home.
What did he say?
He said what?
You said you need to be in a nursing home. I say this though, I mean, I used to love quality time, but since I got my own place,
You like, it's overrated.
just a little, but I had 2 sisters. I'm the youngest though. I have 2 older sisters. And so, and we never, and I'm like, it's an age gap between us. My oldest sister is 42. And I got my oldest nephew is 17.
I like her. Keep going.
So yeah, so my nephews are closer to age than my sister are, but I have another sister, she's just 30, so she's like in 5 years. But you know, so I was a loner, so you know, so I could be by myself, you know. I could do my own thing. I don't mind sitting at home, chilling, get a Netflix movie, something, you know. It's just I'm happy by myself. But I would say this, I guess I can say physical touch and words of affirmation. And so I guess I got that a lot when I was growing up, you know. Oh, you just so handsome, oh, you smart, you know. So I got that a lot. And so I guess I got used to that. So, you know, I was the only boy. I'm the youngest grandchild on both sides. On my dad's side, I'm the only grandson. So yeah, so you know, I feel the girl I bring home to my dad's side because they every Thanksgiving you date somebody. I say, no, chill out. But yeah, I always was protected because I was the baby of the family. So they always protected me. So just like so but so they always gave me word affirmations, things like that. And so but no, but yeah, I don't take gifts for I love giving gifts. I love serving people. I love doing that. But like when people do that for me, it's like I appreciate it. But I was like, I don't know how to handle it. It's like, you don't have to do it for me, you know.
I think you bring up a good point too, because I think when you first get in a serious relationship or marriage, one of the first things you learn is you can't love the person the way you want to be loved. You have to love them the way they want to be loved. And it's a shift because you think, okay, I like this, I'm just do that for you, but might not be what they like. And so, it's taking that time to know because it's natural to do that. You know.
Anybody online got something to say?
What's your love language, DJ?
What do you say?
You don't want to know. He said your love language is harassment.
Harassment?
I don't know.
Since when do I harass people?
Don't mind.
I know my big head is blocking Mike. Mike trying to show him.
That's
Him, oh, there we go.
my love language is words of affirmation because I didn't get that a lot growing up. So when I do get it, it feels nice.
Good. All right. Learn a little something about y'all.
These are touchy-feely questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised.
I was surprised too.
I know for previous years they ask us different.
Y'all been throwing around the L word a lot.
I know
I'm
we've
working
been
on
halfway.
hives.
Nobody asked the sex question used in the past.
Well,
Y'all so polite.
okay, so I guess this could kind of.
I
think-
spoke too soon.
Well, no,
Oh.
I would say this. So, is it always necessary? Well, let's see. Yeah, no, this, yeah, I guess they want to test the water. They don't want to go that deep yet, but.
Sorry.
But yeah, so I will do this one. So, it's always necessary to have an accountability partner when you first start dating.
What y'all think?
It's always important to have accountability partner when you first start dating. So like when you start dating, so it's as Christian we believe, it's better we should refrain from sex until marriage, right? You attracted, let's put you physically attracted to somebody because you don't need to date nobody you're not physically attracted to. You don't have to do that. But
You're alone with them enough, they gonna get attracted to you though. I'm just saying. Like,
but with physical attraction comes other urges too, to be honest. And so if you're trying to, be the Christian and refrain from it and stuff, is it always, especially when your love language is touch, is it always necessary for you to have accountability partner?
depends on the person. You know, if you call them a couple of times for both with physical therapy, might be the answer right there. Stop.
Like literally. I didn't know they was physically there. I thought you just called them or something. Pull you off the back.
I mean, I would say it depends on how, like, well, how can you handle yourself?
Yeah, I think that's the important part because sometimes you swear you got it until you're in that situation. You're like, yeah, forget everything else I said. You in the moment. You know, like it's there. Like it's like that cookie on the top shelf. Like you know you can grab it. And your mama told you not to grab it, but she ain't here right now, and that cookie's still looking at you. You're gonna grab that cookie regardless because you know you want it. And sometimes it don't matter how many times you got to eat before you get ready to get that cookie, you still want it. So it all depends on you. And sometimes that person, that accountability person, sometimes it's just not enough. So it really falls down on you. And you have to find a mistake because you're participating in the action. If it feels like it helps you, yes. But for some people who are just hard-headed, it's not gonna work that way. It's just not gonna work that way. I'm gonna see it, I'm gonna refrain it. And the next time, I'm gonna be smart about it and probably not go to you and say, hey, I'm having this issue. I'm gonna do it my own way. So it all depends on you. It's still a hypothetical situation.
That was real though. It's real. Cause this ways to trick your accountability partners. And yeah, y'all, yeah, I know people be picking, I'm like, how they your accountability? They ain't even answer the phone because they over their person's house. What you talking about?
Lord, y'all don't call people out here.
It should be, I have to give you the title. Just new. Just new. All right, it should be say.
That's why you don't give the accountability part like that. You gotta pick one that's sad.
You gotta give it sad and lonely accountability. Somebody who a little bit mad that you got somebody, because they'll be all in your business. What you doing? Why you there? I ain't got nothing but time.
But I would say this though, let me tell you something, since like technology, you know, sharing your location with somebody, like I'll be out with friends, my mom was like, why you haven't at your apartment yet? It's getting late. I was like, just hang with friends, don't be doing nothing, we just be talking. It be like, wait, you ain't home yet? I was like, Mom, it's Friday. It's like, I'll tell you, I said, and then like I know a lot of people say this too, like, you know, they got friends that they share their location with, and they be somewhere too long. They be like, where you at? Where you? They be calling us. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. So with me and Mark, I was in another state when we met. Okay, so we had to navigate. You know, we endeavored to date holy. You know, I mean, you don't want to be out. He was a pastor. I didn't need to be out. You know, slipping and dipping. You know, and doing the wrong thing. But I mean, you know, I had to fly here to see him, or he had to fly to see me during our dating. I mean, we not all formal. We don't use courtship, but when we date, you know. And I had friends that was accountability partners. And them jokers, I mean, they would text me. And they'd be like, okay, turn your camera on. Show me the hotel room. They'd be like, are you serious? Turn on the camera. I'm like, in here by myself in a room, like, see, it's by myself. But, you know, you can, it's like you said, if you wanted to find a way to lie about that, you still could. It's not so much it's not so much having an accountability partner, it's what do you need to do to be accountable? It's not magic in a person. There is power in the conviction. And then on top of that, doing practical things, you know. And I know statistically, most people, they do sleep with people before they get married. And so you know, if that's happened, that's happened. But if you got to the point where you made a commitment now, I want to do it the right way, then you have to be honest with yourself. You can't just be up in somebody's house late over and over again watching movies. Because, you know, if you're attracted to them, you attracted to them, you know? And don't be trying to be super spiritual and deep. I remember one time this guy told me, he was like, you can come over to my house and we could read the Bible by candlelight. I was like,
It wasn't me.
no. I was like, ain't nobody read no Bible by candlelight.
I got to turn off the lights.
I'm like, ain't nobody reading the Bible by candlelight. You're just trying to be weird. You know. So
How you gonna read it with a camera?
with the candle.
You need a flashlight. to
And
read
this
it.
is 2000 and whatever. Why you need the candle? So yeah, whatever.
Got LED lights.
So don't try to be all deep. Don't try to put more pressure on your flesh, if you will, than they can handle. If you try to make a commitment, you have to line up common sense things that you do. And if you already have sex, even if it wasn't for just the standpoint of the Bible does talk about abstaining until you get married. Once you sleep with somebody, particularly if it's in a relationship where it don't feel right, it's hard to break out of it, just practically speaking, because you're gonna want to be with somebody and have that experience, even when your mind telling you, but I don't really even like them like that, you know, and so you don't want to get in a situation where you fighting against your own body to get out of a situation that the rest of you across those dimensions he was talking about don't feel fulfilled. I don't really know about their goals. They kind of boring sometimes. But you feel this intense desire to be with them. You don't want to be like that. That's practical.
Yeah, so you know, you talk about accountability. I think in the journey of life, I think it's important. It's not necessary, but I think it's important to have a couple people in life that you will be absolutely honest with.
Yeah, be real.
You will, and you can talk to them about whatever. As a principle in the Bible, it says, confess your faults one to another, pray for one another that you may be healed. So I think there is value in having some people in your life who you can be absolutely honest with. Because I think it just helps sometimes to talk things out.
I would say this, you know, I had accountability. One of my best friends, he actually at one point, y'all remember, some of y'all know Isaac. And then, you know, we were roommates before he got married and stuff, but that joke was something serious. He was supposed to come tonight, he was like, they had something to do, but yeah, I remember this one point, because like I said, like I told that previous relationship, you know, there was a lot of conviction in my heart about things. And he knew, I talked to him about it a lot of times. And you know, you know, sometimes when, you know, he can see that I'm slipping back into old habits with her, he'll start texting me scriptures and stuff. And but you know, thing about it is too, you know, it's always a way around it, you know. And so I had an accountability partner, and I still did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And so, and you know, it cost me a lot. It cost me a lot of time, a lot of energy. You know, thank God I feel like I'm getting back on track now. Almost done with school now. Got my first job now. So But it's one of those things where a lot of other things too. We talk about because me and her did we did cross that boundary, and we did have sex with each other, and it was hard to break too. And after I did break up, it was hard to get over her too. You know, even when I knew it was wrong, I didn't leave her alone. It was still hard, and so when so but I can see the difference in my life now. I can see, okay, now I can hold myself accountable. Like, okay, now I know why I can't go back there no more. But it was until I had to hold myself accountable. And so, like he said, it's up to you. It's not up to your accountability partner because and that guy ain't gonna say, oh, well, why wasn't your accountability partner doing what they were supposed to be? No, why didn't you do what you were supposed to be doing? Because okay, can't nobody change your life but you. God gave you that power to do that. He can change you if you want him to, but he's not even gonna change you unless you don't want him to. Because I had got to the point, I got to the point too, toward the end of the relationship, I was like, Lord, okay, don't allow me to put myself in a position where I'm gonna slip up. Sometimes that would happen too. Sometimes I remember one time I prayed there for. I think she came down with a cold one day. My car wouldn't start one day. I said, God, this should be my accountability partner for real. But it was one. It's some things too. And I learned this too. I don't put myself in certain positions no more to slip up. So like, 'cause I know some people talk about Ursula sins. Or Ursula events like things that are not actually sins. But it's nothing wrong going to somebody's house and watching a movie if that's all you do. But you sitting close and your love language test already, and they testing you, and you don't mind it.
And it be fine. And you stop thinking clear. I mean, it's the truth.
It is. And so start putting yourself in positions to where you can slip up. And so, and I think that was the big difference too. And when you start taking a sin out of a relationship, a lot of times there won't be a relationship anymore. And that will start happening. And so I start putting myself in positions where, okay, hey, I could be vulnerable, in that situation because my vulnerability is for my wife. And so I was like, let it be for my wife. And so, yeah, and so I had to learn this stuff. And let me start putting myself in these certain positions. Let's go. I want to spend some time. Let's go to the movies and let's go out to eat. You know, let's go. Walk around Spring Park. That's a free date right there. And she actually loved doing that. Was actually a regular thing we did. That was just cheap fun. So it's a lot of things you could do. Find some other couples to hang out with. It's a lot of things you could do. But just being mindful of your boundaries, know what you can handle, know what you can handle. Okay, I can't, and express. And I think this is another thing too. Express that to your partner. Express that to your partner because they don't know. They gonna go. You can't blame them for something they don't know. And so yeah. But yeah, as far as accountability goes, it's always good to have fun. But I think just having friends and that know you and they know what your goals are and they know what your boundaries are and they're gonna hold you accountable to. I think that's great. Friends don't mind calling when they feel something up, like they just call you, like, what you doing? I have friends like that. And so yeah.
Yeah, and if you plan on getting married, you should get used to that because that's that's what my wife did. What you doing? What you about to do? Where you at?
You share with each other what you do.
But I think you all really hit it on the head. My dad used to say all the time, to your own self be true. And, I thought he was the wisest man, and, he was. I realized he got that from someone else, but that stuck with me all my life. Just the importance of being honest with yourself, uh, choosing to be honest, because that's what leads to integrity. You have choices in life, and you're free to choose. And so, if you want to live your life a certain way, you want to go down the same path, then you have to establish that for yourself and then make the choices.
And I say those, oh, I'm sorry. Accountability partners goes beyond sex, right? So you had those friends and you're gonna be like, you different since you've been in this, I mean, in this relationship, but you seem like, you sad all the time, or y'all seem like y'all arguing, or you used to be on fire for this, and this, and now you're not. You want that person in your life who sees the best you in God and can give you that feedback of something off. Because people get in relationships, I mean, sometimes it's a sex thing, sometimes it's a sex and other things, but, you want that person who thinks about, what's best for you and can see what God has placed in you, right? So when you get married, your spouse automatically is an accountability partner. But like, my husband has a best friend, doesn't even live in the state, but calls him regularly to talk to him about the things of God in ministry, what you're doing, what is God talking about. And he builds him up in that area in a way that is a very integral part of the support he needs. So you want to have people in your life like that, even beyond just, you got your clothes on, I'm calling to see if you, whatever. I mean, it's bigger than that.
And I think that's why it's important to build relationships in life, and not just romantic ones. To be good friends.
That's going the right.
And in life you might not have 50 good friends, but if you have one or two, it's a blessing. People you know them. Just talk. It's valuable.
I got a friend, I tend to do a lot of things and kind of say, okay, I got it, I'm handling it. But she'll call me and say, but how you really doing it? And I know the way she says it, I need to tell her because that's accountability for me. I have to pretend like stuff is right. Is it right? And what things do we need to talk about? And that's what I need, so everybody, needs something. How we doing on your question?
I'm good.
Okay.
So yeah, I know it's getting a little late, but we could probably ask about 2 more questions. That sound good?
Yeah.
Two.
You want to take the last two? Right, Reverend Dr. Bishop? No, you want to answer?
So I'm gonna kind of answer this. I'm gonna ask this one, not answer it. But I'm gonna throw this. I'm gonna have to probably throw this to the crowd. Okay. Y'all see? Okay, so is being a sneaky link degrading? So.
Because if you can't even put yourself, title yourself as a sneaker, you the lowest level.
So.
If you can't even take you out on a date with the roses not being out,
Rob.
owls and all of that, if you
Hello.
can't see you on a date like, you don't need people.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the one with the boyfriend.
Well, I say this because I know what sneaky links do.
Me too.
So, I would say, God never taught us to be sneaky links or none of that. I ain't never really seen girlfriend, boyfriend but we're nothing wrong with it. But I think about this is he called us husbands and wives, right? He calls us friends, those kind of terms. If you want to be my friend, just be my friend. But if you want a relationship, you want a relationship. Let me know what's up. Be honest with me. And he's like, well, we don't want to be in a relationship. And sometimes too, I know sneaky link. It's both sides know what's up. you know. So I know it's like, you know, but honestly, you get all the benefits of being in a relationship without getting the real benefits of being in a relationship. So you get, and let's be honest, you get the physical part of being in relationships, but you don't get that emotional support when something happens in your life. You know, you school stretching you out, work stretching you out, and you can't turn to that person because they're busy or occupied somewhere else. And then what's the point of having a relationship then if you can't they can't get to the core? And so, you know, if it's the this answer to the question, say if it's degrading, I would say, you know, it's not benefiting you. It's not benefiting you. And so if it's not benefiting, well, you know, I get what I want, but do you get what you need? And so you gotta ask yourself, okay, what do I need? And so, you know, and God, he'll give you desires of your heart, but he also gives you your needs too. And so when we think of God, you know, he's whole in what he do. So everything he do, he see the whole picture. He works things out for the whole picture, not just this particular area or this particular desire. He does the whole picture. And so when you're in a relationship, whether it was just with friends, like you just, hey, you got, you know, sometimes you just got friends that just call you just because they want to complain, you know. But God, he sees a whole, but he wants a wholeness for you, and so that's especially in relationships. So you know, if it's okay, it may be okay for you to be your sneaky link or whatever you'll call it, but you know, it's not for you. That's not kind of lifestyle. It's not for you. It's not for us. It's not for nobody, whether you believe in God or not. 'Cause God didn't create us like that. It's so much more to us than the physical side, and so much more to just one side. So, you know, we flesh, we spirit, we're soul, right? And so, if you're not feeding all of me, don't feed me at all. And I found somebody else who will.
But
So,
there you have it.
yeah.
Maybe as I grow, can't get fed, like you said, fed one side and not get fed the other side. I really think that sleeping is just people that want to be in a relationship with each other. They don't know that either they're scared or they've been hurt before and they don't want to go through it again. So they just use that as an option. Oh yeah, I can get this because I got it. I can see it. I don't have to go through the pain and the suffering of that relationship. But in the end of the day, you are in a relationship with that person. They just have their education. Still a relationship after that. You put a title on it. I can put a title on it or not. The relationship.
Any more thoughts, of course?
You look like you're gonna say something. I think the thing that's hard about situations like that is the unevenness of it. It could be two people to be in a relationship, or it could be one that's getting some needs met here because they waiting on somebody over there, and the other one is kind of really wanting to be with the person, but they haven't talked about it. I mean, it's just so much um, brokenness, I think, that comes from situations like that. You know, with people, you know, your soul is a powerful thing, and you got your emotions all tied up in that. And usually somebody ends up liking somebody more than another, or somebody gets hurt. And just why set it up like that? If you don't have an agreement that we moving towards something committed, then why try to use somebody or let yourself be used? I mean, y'all call it sneaky links, but this stuff ain't new. They was doing that stuff way before our parents' time. I mean, that stuff ain't new, but at the end of the day, when I was in college, I knew a lot of people who we called it hooking up, just this person, that person, this person, that person. It wasn't no thing. And you was kind of, different if you was trying not to be like that. But at the end of the day, let them get drunk and let them start talking about relationships. And they the first one, I'm just looking for somebody. But not that way, because you can't do this and expect this. It's just not practical. I ain't talking about God. It's not practical, you know. He puts things in order that are practical and make sense. And so, you know, at the end of the day, you have to know what you're worth and what you really want. And what you want, you gotta work toward that. Can't do this and expect that. And it's hard because there's so many images and stuff we see in front. I mean, people you see on TV and all this other stuff, you know, they in this relationship, they in that relationship, they in this relationship, they in that relationship. They look like they got the perfect relationship, then they blow up and they like, well, we're moving our love to the next level by letting each other know. That's some junk. All that stuff that people do is some junk. It's some tore up lives and hurt feelings and kids in the balance. So why not learn early on how to do something productive and get that stuff that people pretending like they got? You know, I don't wonder where my husband is. I call him because I miss him, but I don't wonder where he is. I don't wonder what he's doing. I can put my head at night and I know that he has my best interest at heart. I trust him with my heart. And I could never do that before, and that's worth anything else. You trust me too?
Oh, yeah.
You see, we like to mess with each other. Well, maybe I mess with him, but
Sure.
but you know, people fake. You know, all this stuff you see, all this and that, and it's toe up. You know, you don't want that. You want something real.
The way they did it was different than when most of the speed. When they both made it close, they were just saying. Different word for it. It was just okay. That's part of it. I think you should take this one. God taught you to be, and I think it's something God taught you to be. It's not like they can do it, but yeah. Well, I'm gonna share it. It was everywhere, but it wasn't like, it didn't linger because of the way they did it.
And I wouldn't even necessarily specifically, I know you're talking about, but there was a couple that happened around the same time, and the message is like, and it looks nice. It's going through a publicist. But what tears did they cry to get to that point? And can we avoid those? You know, knowing where you're going. One thing my husband always says, and you know, I love you said in counseling, but he says nobody can tell you who somebody really is but God. So am I listening enough to know? Because especially, you know, I wanted to be married when I was 21, 22. I was looking at greens, okay? I didn't do it. Nothing wrong with getting married at that age. For me, I'm glad I did not. But you have to know, you have to have a relationship to know how is a person even going to develop. I'm totally different I'm 46 than I was at 36, than I was at 26. And so if I'm gonna have a relationship, you all young people, that lasts, I need to have some help from somebody besides me to tell me who is he gonna be 20 and 30 years from now. And so the publicist statement sounds nice, but God can tell you that and prepare you for that, and then give you the tools to move and grow together. And so it sounds nice, but that's not his best. That's not what he wants for us. He wants us to be fulfilled. He wants somebody who loves us the way he loves us, where it's a selfless love. You give up stuff for the other person. You know, you can't imagine your life without them. That's what he wants, because that's how he loves us. And so, you know, I think a lot of times it's hard because we see stuff, it looks so good, but it's a lot of pain that people live in, and it's unnecessary. You know, life is never going to be perfect. No marriage is perfect. But it can be fulfilling and it can be happy. Definitely. Yeah.
I want you to sit there with a Janet Jackson and say, I want you to go and sit down and write out all the good things about and all the bad things about.
Yeah.
And if they're good, I'll wait a bad.
She was
She's wonderful.
Mhm.
And she did. probably laughed at her when she came in the room trying to be nice. And everything. She didn't do it again. She could have cheated then, you know, but she didn't. Instead, she just worked on who she knew for herself. Then that man just came along and then she wasn't looking for it. You know, she just got out of that marriage. She wasn't necessarily.
But even like with that example, you know, I know people my age who still making the same mistake over and over again. And that's sad. You don't want to be that. And I'm not saying I don't love them, you know, but you don't want to be making them same mistakes. You don't want to be picking the same guy over and over and over again, because that speaks to what you think you're worth. And so, or the same woman over and over again, you know, that uncle that bring the same type of woman to the barbecue every year. Which one is this one? That's the same type of girl. You don't want to be that older person that does that. You know, y'all are starting out when you can make those great decisions, right? But it's all based upon people do that because they think that's the best it's gonna get. You know, they just think it's the best it can get, but it can get that. Huh? Yeah.
I say this, and we move on to our last question, but, you know, I'll say this about society too. Don't get caught up in society. Because from, you know, a lot of things, a lot of toxic behavior is normalized now. When it comes to, when it comes to just being sneaky link, or when it even come to marriage, like weddings, no, weddings are good. I think weddings are a beautiful thing. But people, you know, you gotta, if you don't have this perfect wedding, all can't get married. I did like God said, look, if you know, she the one, just go ahead and get married, you know.
Still be paying for it and you get divorced. I know people who've done that.
Yeah. I know people will go in debt just for one day and like and be the wrong person at the altar. You know? And you know, I think we get so caught up in this society and what we want, romance, and we'll have somebody romantic and evil at the same time. And you know, it's not worth it. And so a lot of times too, we'll date somebody or be with somebody just because just to say we have somebody. Oh, I want to go on dates, or I want to do this, I want to do this. It really comes down to your relationship you have with God. Because a lot of, you know, I think you can't, because marriage is not two broken people, two half pieces coming together, two whole pieces coming together to form a bigger picture. And so you can't be broken going to a marriage, right? You know, at some point for the marriage to work, y'all got to be made whole. Yeah, you go to marriage broken, you know, if you want the real to work, y'all got to get whole somehow. And which you can, you know. I think God can redeem anything and save anything, but you know, at some point you got to be made whole for it to work. And so, you know, just save yourself some trouble, save somebody else some trouble too. You'll save yourself money, time, energy, all that, just if you make yourself whole and you learn how to identify what wholeness is. And so, and you know, and you really want, you know, this, I would say this Valentine's Day, this is like the first one I've been alone. For the second one, I've been single, I've been alone. You know what? I really wasn't, I worked all day with the class, and so I would sleep. I would sleep when I got home. So I had the energy to worry about me being lonely, honestly. But but you know, it wasn't that feeling, oh, I gotta find somebody, or I need to find a booth. No, I was like, you know what? It was more me like, you know what? I gotta do this homework. I gotta I gotta get up in the morning. That was normal. I could get up at 6 o'clock. I had 5 o'clock in the morning. Dang. That was really on my mind too. But you know, and so you know, you don't worry about things. You worry about what you gotta do. And worry about what, and you focus on God, like, okay, I'm loved by God. know, something they say all the time at Connected Church. You know, God loves himself in you, and we do too. You married to God, and you married to us. And you know, and that's such a true statement. It's not a cliche or nothing. It's something so true because like you do marry to God. He do love you. So when you are lonely, you could talk to him. Like, okay, hey, you know, how you doing, God? You know, and so yeah, so you know, that's the scheme of it. You know, being what God wants you to be. That he where he wants to be is he see the whole picture. And so he works in the wholeness of things, not just the partiality of a feel good moment or feel good concept or idea. He works in the wholeness and the manifestation of the wholeness of it all. So yeah.
You mentioned, you know, normal. You just really should be very aware now that you're constantly being bombarded with images and messages to paint the picture of how you think about things. Somebody trying to tell you what's normal, and it just pops up in the most amazing moments, you know. And you know, sometimes we're sitting watching TV and we'll see something. And we're like, "Now that's odd. I wonder why they wrote that way, you know." But it's somebody trying to influence what you think and how you think about things and what quote unquote, you know, normal is. And so, you know, it's a terrible thing to be born an original and die a copy. So it's becoming like what everybody else does and everybody else thinks.
It's okay to want to be in a relationship though.
Yeah.
Relationships are good. Marriage is good and it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not to do that.
Yeah,
Do it the right way.
we're not talking
Yeah,
about.
do it the right way, but have fun with it if you find a good one.
But I mean, in terms of just how you approach things. So, don't anybody paint you in a corner. Just call you, paint you in a box. So you're not old fashioned, not with where things are now. Or I'm amazed at what people call being woke now. They say woke, and I say, no, you're asleep. That's totally counter to reality, truth. So just be mindful. Be very mindful of how things are trying to influence and shape us. It's so pervasive now.
You know, and I just want to say something too on the flip side, because we talked a lot about, I think a little bit about sex and holiness and things like that. I know people who's trying to stay virgins and stuff and rushed and got married. You don't want to do that either. That's, you know, and then they had to really figure out, did they like each other? The whole thing is, are you being led? Do you know your worth? You have patience for it to be right. You know, neither one, you know, they might not have gotten to, you know, sin in that area, but the impatience of it and just rushing into something that's so important or rushing to be, you know, they just, you know, maybe come out of church and so happy that somebody looked at them. They think that's it, the first one, you know, so you just want to relax.
Yeah, you want to relax and you know, I know it's thank God for his creation of sex. Sex is God's idea. That having been said, you know, there's a tendency to put sex and the concept of sex on a pedestal. It's just like a forbidden thing. If I could just have sex, life would be wonderful, good. You know, thank God, marriage and sex is a part of marriage, is a wonderful thing. That having been said, you know, even after you find somebody in a relationship, you know, there's more to life. So, and I'm not trying to be deep in saying that. I'm just saying that sometimes what you can't, what you think you're not supposed to have becomes even larger to you. So you can become so focused on it that it just kind of distorts your view of life.
So I think we covered about almost all the questions. And some shape, form, as even though we didn't probably ask it out loud, I think a lot of the questions were answered. There's a few maybe probably go into detail more about, but I know time is getting late and things, but excuse me. But yeah, so any other thoughts, comments, any questions before we do wrap up?
I
Yeah.
think they good.
Nothing, no.
They like,
But-
let's go.
No. Yeah.
Well, I'll just say this on behalf of my wife. Every man she met prior to meeting me was just a pretender.
That's
So she
true.
wanted you all to know that.
That's true. It was a song that was out a few years ago. Was it I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man? They literally played that as he walked out at our wedding. At the reception. It's like, "You the man." He was the one. He still is.
You're the one to.
Mhm.
I want you the one.
Okay, stop now.
So, so
Thanks for all the chocolate you brought me. Appreciate it.
yeah, for you.
Oh. I forgot about that.
Oh, but
From
yeah,
the church.
yeah, so you welcome.
Oh, well. Leave one.
Just go leave. But yeah, so we'll stop the recording right here.